Hello, people. I kind of want to meant to make another podcasty video, if you will, because I went down to the rabbit hole of the lighthouse, and it doesn't really make any sense at first, but it's going to make sense hopefully anytime soon. So, as you can see here, you can see how I think, in a way, when we talk about Wuthering Waves, since Wuthering Waves is, I would say, the game I play most in my channel and in my life overall, because it's a big game, like you can do a lot of things in it. There are a lot of some laws as well and whatnot. So what really kind of put me into this kind of rabbit hole in the first place is the fact that I was doing Spotify Shuffle, and I got into the song called The Lighthouse by Halsey, right? And I've been listening to Halsey for years. I like just something about her lyrics, especially because I like poems as well, really spoke to me. Oops, my cat is here. Hey, baby. And oh, I don't know what is he trying to do. I hope he's not trying to do weird things. He's just needing the blanket. This doesn't go as I expected, but anyway. And I think if you need to know something that I think is really cool about Halsey's previous album, because her current album is The Great Impersonator, and before that was If I Cannot Have Love, I Want Power. And in that album, basically she was collaborating with 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, and Atticus Ross, which is I really like their musicality. It's just wonderful. And it's a spooky song. The Lighthouse by Halsey is a spooky song. And you know what else is spooky? Bioshock Infinite, Bioshock Infinite is probably the first big major game that I played, if you will. I've been using Mac since 2010s. I can't really play that many games, throughout the years, and I don't really play many games at all. But I think Bioshock Infinite might be the first game that I genuinely, it has it's heavy game, right? It's not very long, but there's a lore, there's a story, there are various modes and all that. So it's always been a really meaningful game to me, especially since it has political sort of kind of elements as well, which I find really interesting, because I'm not white. I'm Asian. So you got racism there, and then early 20th century kind of thing. And then of course we got one of my favorite theory field, whatever, which is quantum physics, because we're talking about time and space and all that. And what really throttles me here is that that quote, what I'm going to talk about, spoiler for Bioshock Infinite, rather obviously, but Elizabeth, the one of the two protagonists that we have in the game, was saying something along the line of, there is always a lighthouse, there is always a man, there is always a city, which implies variable, but that's not really any variable, isn't it? Whether especially in game, because everything that happens in the game, it's kind of confined to the same ending. And I think that's also the type of kind of what should I call it, it's kind of the base of Wuthering Waves law, I would say, because we were there, then we're not there anymore. And then I think most of the narrative so far kinds of point out to where we're going back to Solaris 3, aka duplicate Earth, because again, Earth is the third planet from the sun in our solar system, and whether we can make a difference this time. I feel there's maybe another version of Solaris 3, maybe even Solaris 2 and Solaris 1 was actually the Earth before, because we don't know anything about the interstellar system yet in Wuthering Waves, low-key. And whether we failed to basically save the Earth, save the Solaris 3 prior to this, and then we're trying again because we're going to be the variables, right? And again, the fact that at one point we had to make the decision, or like at least like the shopkeeper made the decision to sacrifice herself so that like the tether system can go on, implies again like all these like variables and chances. Of course we all know that at the end of that storyline, we as the rover decided to like save shopkeeper and like alter the timeline maybe in a way, but like we saved her and she didn't die. And I don't think we've like really addressed like the Tethys system core since then, so like I'm looking forward to see like what happened there. But again, so that's just like the variables and choices that exist within Wuthering Waves narrative that we can't really do much about. Like this game's not necessarily like a big game. Like for example, I think the closest thing that I can think of is like Baldur's Gate 3. Am I pronouncing that properly? Baldur's Gate? I don't know. Like I don't know how to write it, but with that game you have so many options, you have so many dialogue, and you can have like various like timeline and options, right? But at the end of the day, you will meet the same ending. Like there are hundreds of thousand players of Baldur's Gate 3. I suppose it's the same case. Like they will still met this kind of like predestined pro-written ending. It's the same case of like Wuthering Waves. We can play any type of game, but like at the end of the day we're going to meet like the same enemy, we're going to have the same cutscene, so like it's much smaller in like a narrative sense. And that's going to bring me to the question that maybe we kind of can ponder. I've always been like, I subscribe to stoicism on and off throughout the year, especially when things are just like really unbearable, from like mild discomfort and okay, like I really don't like this, like a traffic jam, to an actual I lost my siblings when they're on their 20s in a very traumatic series of event, which is like it's a lot. It really is a lot, because people keep telling me, I don't know, how can you handle all this? I don't know how you can keep on living after all that. And I was kind of like, well, one must, if you will. And the question is that when we talk about timeline and life, and at the end of the day the illusion of choice, whether that illusion of choice is real, or like do we actually have a choice in a way. If you're religious, you're probably going to like incorporate God and fate somewhere here. But personally, stoicism can also come from the place of like maybe everything is predestined. Like you are meant to experience all this thing, you are meant to eventually play Wuthering Waves. Like we don't know, because like we don't really have any power beyond ourselves, and understanding and capability to look far beyond ourselves, right? So I think like at the end of the day, even if like we only have like the illusion of choice, I think it's still very interesting that we get to experience this, and maybe we feel like we have control, and for a little bit that makes us happy. Well, at the time I record this, like many of the Wuthering Waves content are subscribed, because like quite many of them are into meta, because like again I agree that Wuthering Waves meta it's pretty cool, it's pretty neat, like they're so good. I bought a controller for the first time in my life so I can play it better, so like I generally like it, it's great, right? So like the end goal of Whimpering Waste, because everyone's like seems to be like pissed with Whimpering Waste, is that you have to beat them. There are various ways that you can achieve this, but eventually you will beat it, or like you have to beat it, or like you reach a certain rank and then you're beating it. So at the end of the day, I think like with games, at the very least, everything is just like completely pattern. You will experience the same ending. There will always be a player, there will always be an account, there's always be a salary history of your version on your account. But would you say the same about our lives? There's always an earth, there's always a you, there's always a life that you're living. I don't really know. I would say I'm a 50-50 on that, in a sense that, well, if everything is already predestined, and like I don't actually have any control, and I don't actually have any choice, like it is what it is. Like what am I gonna do? It's not like I can start having choice from now on. But like if we actually have some degree of free will, well, I think that's going to be interesting as well. So like I think I'm fine either way, even though perhaps the illusion of choice is like 100% a real thing. So yeah, the lighthouse brought me here. if you really want to enjoy like Halsey's song, do give it a listen. It's a very industrial rock, because again, Nine Inch Nails worked on that, and I also love Halsey's artistry. If you haven't played Bioshock Infinite and you want to play a game that's like, it's very beautiful, but it can also get very dark, and it's very satisfying gameplay wise, at least in my opinion. Like, it's not too difficult. You can make it difficult, of course. I tried the difficult part and it's still really fun to me. Something about space and time and choices, because I also bought the extension one. I don't like it because like it's very sad, and like I don't like the combat as much, like the extension one where we play as Elizabeth in the undersea. But it was still really good, because I just played that for one run. For Bioshock Infinite, I played it like a couple of runs because I really like it. So yeah, well, hopefully you've been having a better day than mine, because I think my period is coming and I'm kind of in pain, but it's okay. My cat is here and I love him. See you guys on the next video.